Okay, so today let's talk some Star Wars. Let's talk some Star Wars gaming. Let's talk some gaming. Would you care to introduce yourself first off?
Welcome to Uplink.
Yeah, sure. My name is Larani, also known as Lauren, part of where the name comes from. And I stream on Twitch. I have a YouTube channel. You can find me on Twitter doing a bunch of Thrawn theories and just talking all about Star Wars and just everything going on. But yeah, you can find me, Lady Larani, anywhere.
Excellent. Yeah, and for those of you who this will be an audio podcast, but you are wearing a Thrawn shirt right now.
I am. I came prepared.
Rocking the Thrawn merch. I know Dinko, who's on my team, would greatly appreciate that. He's
Nice.
a huge Thrawn guy.
Very nice. Yeah, like I just finished the newest book that came out, so I'm very much a Thrawn fan. For sure.
Okay. So are you a big adventurer through the world of Star Wars books?
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep up with the books. There's a few that I haven't read, obviously, but
It's so hard. I was up to date, but that was like 2016, and then after that, I am so far behind.
oh gosh. Yeah, like I feel bad because I haven't read the last two of the Alphabet Squadron books. And because I've really wanted to dive in and see how that relates to Star Wars Squadrons, the game. But yeah, like the first one was amazing. And then, yeah, the Thrawn Greater Good was the last book that I read. But I love just seeing how it weaves into all the games and the TV shows and the movies that we have seen. So they're doing a really amazing job with just how they're connecting lore and story. So
It's wild and almost unprecedented in like terms of entertainment of how connected everything is. Like it's overwhelming almost. What are some of the tips that you'd have for someone who wants to get back into the books?
yeah, well, let's see. I got back in like really in depth with the sequel trilogy when it came out. So it kind of depends what, I guess, era. Start with the era that you want. Look at the movies and things. So when the sequel trilogy was coming out, I wanted to really have a knowledge of the universe of what was happening at the time. So like that just kind of spurred my interest. And so I started reading the Aftermath trilogy. So that kind of started with the New Republic. And then there's a character in the Aftermath trilogy that goes back to the Clone Wars era and like right after with A New Dawn, talking about Kanan and Admiral Sloane and things like that. So
Okay.
really, I would recommend just finding kind of the movies that you want to kind of expand your knowledge around and go from there.
Okay. One of my favorites was Star Wars Bloodline. I really, really liked that book.
That one made me cry.
It was so good, and I loved how like they accomplished the like political drama much better than I think you could even do in the Star Wars movies, but it was there in the background, and I think they really did a good job of building up that political intrigue.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's one that I really want to go back to and read after kind of getting my headspace, knowing what I know now about the New Republic era, because Ransom Casterfo, the kind of protege to Leia during that time, he was so like enthralled with the Empire and like just its history and everything, and just kind of what we see from Battlefront 2 with Iden Versio, and how just everyday people just kind of grew up with that indoctrination and the brainwashing almost into the Empire. It just like I really want to read that one again just to get into Ransom's like mindset and just his intrigue with the Empire.
On that topic, and I'm glad you brought this up, but what are your thoughts on the books that they had for Battlefront? So the first one, for listeners who haven't really delved deep into the world of the books, which I can't blame you. It's really hard to keep up, especially if you like tie in the comics with that. It's like overwhelming. Like if you start from nothing, you're going to be working a while before you get caught up. But the first one was basically a standalone thing, didn't really tie into the game, but it was around that same era, which I really enjoyed. And then you have a clear tie-in with Christy Golden, her fantastic writing.
Yeah, I absolutely loved the Christy Golden Battlefront 2, just about Iden and Del. And Gideon. Oh, what was I always like, what's his name? Del, Gideon, and Iden.
And then there was
I don't know,
the fourth,
their
who
last
was
names.
like Sirius or
Yeah,
something that started with a C, I think.
Yeah, but
she doesn't matter in the campaign. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I haven't read it in so long. But yeah, that was one of my favorite books because, again, like it dives deep into just how everyday people who grew up thinking and kind of brainwashed into having this awesome view of the Empire and that it's like a greater good for the galaxy at large, and just kind of, I love how they touched on Iden starting to question that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a small connection to Star Wars Rebels in that book as well, with the reporter who kind of, he gives that big like news HoloNet cast about when she kind of was portrayed to be a traitor, basically. What's his name? He was the reporter in Star Wars Rebels as well. So it's like little connections that really make that one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does such a good job of interweaving the characters. Del Meeko is like such a fantastic character. Gideon Haas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The characters that they had in the campaign and the book series, or the book, is so good. Like I think I really wish we got to spend more time, and the switch to the dark side wasn't or switch to the light side wasn't as abrupt as it was in the campaign. Mm-hmm. But I think it would have definitely benefited for a little more time. But it's a game campaign, so
I think reading the book helped me with that. Just because I saw that progression, and it definitely made it more emotional for me, seeing that cutscene where they basically have that break and Iden and Del, turn basically. So yeah, I agree. Like, it's one of my favorite stories in all of Star Wars right now, is that campaign and everything going through it.
What is your go-to when you're exploring the Star Wars gaming world? What has been your favorite parts of what little that we've had from EA, but even broader than that?
I mean, if I just need like a gaming session, I'll just dive into Squadrons.
Yeah.
And just because I grew up on flight sims, doing the Jane's combat simulations, and just the Microsoft flight sim.
Yeah.
So I love diving into that, especially the VR, like if you have a VR headset, I think Squadrons is a must to just dive into that. But I love story-based like games. That's why I love the campaign in Squadrons, and just seeing Hera there. Knights of the Old Republic, like that's that was probably my introduction into Star Wars games. And that's kind of what sparked my interest into like diving into lore in general, was just that crazy twist that we have there with Revan and everything. But yeah, and then just the Jedi Fallen Order. I absolutely just spending time in that game. Like, I don't know, sometimes I just turn the music all the way down and just sit and like listen to the ambience of just the planet that I'm on, and just kind of walk through. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm walking through Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
So it's just, I just love it. Just spending time in the gaming universe world.
Let's jump into Squadrons a little bit deeper. What was your response having that experience with flight simulators, and then let's start with the reveal. What were your thoughts during the reveal?
Oh my gosh, I was so excited. Like, just the fact that there was another Star Wars game coming out, and then it was a flight sim based, game and everything. But yeah, like I play the ultra realistic flight sims from like Star Citizen to the Microsoft Flight Simulator.
You beast.
And then, I've played the more arcadey versions like Ace Combat. Like I grew up on Ace Combat as well.
Okay.
So Squadrons was gameplay wise kind of a good in between. Like it's good if you don't have any flight simulation experience, but it also has that edge if you are familiar with flight sims. Like there's still that customization and the, flight sim tricks that you can do.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, it has a lot of depth, and it's I love that it fills in a void that kind of Battlefront 2 left with its Starfighter assault, because like it was super robust, like probably one of the best experiences in flighting up to that point. And people who played Starfighter Assault, like played Starfighter Assault. There was no, I'm going to jump into the other game modes.
That was my go-to mode. Yeah, I absolutely loved that so much.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the game, the fight combat in Battlefront 2015. Like I loved that. And then Battlefront 2 took it to the next level with its maneuverability. Criterion did a fantastic job with the movement in that game. And then Motive ups the level with the amount of, like, they were huge fans, and you can tell this from the game that they made of those flight sims, like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Like, it was just a love letter to those past games.
Yeah. Just so much fun. Like, again, normally I'm gaming for the story and everything, but there's just something about the multiplayer in those that I just love diving into, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What were your thoughts on the campaign for Star Wars Squadrons?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Like, of course it's a shorter campaign, I suppose, than what we're used to in gaming, but that doesn't bother me really at all. It was in depth. It was a Star Wars story first and foremost, and they just took so much care into the lore and sticking to canon as we know it. And, I saw Hera.
Yes.
I was so excited to see Hera. That, for the reveal, was what was most exciting for me. Hera, like, I cosplay as Hera. I don't know if you can see the Leku in the back. But, yeah, that was so exciting. And I've kind of wonder, I went to Star Wars Celebration in Chicago in 2019, and I was able to go to the Celebration Cantina for Old Republic. Yeah, and so I showed up in my full Hera cosplay and everything, and it was before Squadrons was announced, and they were all like, Hera! And so I wonder if they were working on it at that time. I wish I would have stayed longer. But yeah, that was just so much fun to see Hera in Squadrons and everything.
You sparked that. It was all you that brought Hera to Squadrons.
Maybe it just gave them a burst of encouragement. I don't know.
Hey, look, someone's actually doing this. They recognize her in the game.
Yeah. Like, I was surprised, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. I don't know. It was my first celebration. So, and they were like, Hera, it was fun.
I have not been to a celebration, and I doubt I will be going because of how quickly those tickets get snatched up. But hopefully once COVID calms down and we can actually get those. There's such a need and a want for people to go out and do things after being in lockdown that I think Star Wars Celebration is such a hotly wanted thing that's going to be a little while before unless you're watching the clock and ready to click add to cart.
Yeah.
But I hope to one day experience Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely encourage you to do it. It's just, it was nothing that I ever really experienced before in terms of just everyone being happy and in sync with one thing. And just everyone would come up to you and I don't know. It was just, it's awesome. Like, everyone's seems to be your friend there.
Yeah, and, a place where everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
Going into your streaming, what are some of the things that started you in streaming, and what are some of the your favorite moments and from your favorite games to have been played on stream?
Yeah, for sure. So what started me in streaming was actually Star Citizen, and because they're building this persistent universe where just not one player will always have the same experience. So I wanted to share that on stream with everybody, and to also kind of have a recording archive, to be honest, of what would happen. Yeah. So they're really building out that persistent universe and also the story behind it as well. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. And then it morphed into, the BioWare games, because Dragon Age is kind of rivals Star Wars sometimes, to be honest, in terms of just my lore diving enjoyment of it. But I started sharing the Dragon Age and Mass Effect, and then Star Wars, came along, and just basically, I suppose the best way to describe my Twitch channel is sci-fi whimsical space.
Okay.
So just kind of that bit of fantasy in there as well. But
excellent. Yeah, I've hopped in a few of your streams for Mass Effect, and I've been really enjoying that. I've never played the game, so it's fun seeing the experience of someone going in, having played the games, and also like really knowing what's happening and decisions to make. It's really cool to see you with that guidance too, because I've dropped off because I'm like, okay, I think I have enough that when I do eventually jump into this game, I'll have an idea of what the heck I'm doing, and I'll make some good decisions.
Well, that's tough. Like,
exactly.
There's never a right decision when it comes to BioWare games. I feel like they do a really good job in putting the player in kind of this like position of, oh my gosh, I got to make this big decision. Like, I don't want to spoil it for you, I suppose, but there's this point, at least in the first game, where it's a pretty major decision affecting two of your squad mates. But yeah, decisions, especially Dragon Age as well. If you get into the Dragon Age games, like that's that for viewers who watched my Dragon Age Origins playthrough, they know what I'm talking about. Talking about favorite moments, that's probably one of my favorite moments. Do you know Dragon Age Origins at all?
No,
did you play? Okay,
it's also on my 2 playlist. I haven't I KOTOR and KOTOR 2 were. I mean, KOTOR was my biggest impact for like BioWare. Like I think that's the only game that I've played from them, honestly. My girlfriend and I were wanting to get into Anthem, but sadly, Anthem had all those issues that Anthem has. But KOTOR was the bomb.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the same for me. That's what introduced me to BioWare, was Knights of the Old Republic. And it's how I found Mass Effect as well. Because I was hungry for a game that would allow you to have the story decisions like Knights of the Old Republic provided, but also a voiced character that, you just, I don't know, there's something about having that voiced character that just immersed me more with Mass Effect as opposed to Knights of the Old Republic. And so, like I found that, when it was being announced in E3, and that was just it for me, like in terms of BioWare, playing everything. So.
What is your favorite Star Wars game?
Oh gosh. I would say Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
Like I just, in terms of how Jedi Fallen Order connects to just the current canon stories that are happening now, and just how it helps you as a player empathize with Cal Kestis and all the supporting characters. I love how we were able to have time with those characters. And just the role-playing aspect of it in terms of customizing Cal and the lightsabers, that was amazing.
All the ponchos.
The ponchos. Oh my gosh.
In that regard, what really draws you into like a Star Wars experience? What, like, personally, it's for me, it was the feeling of the worlds, but also how it tied into the music. I think, now this may be controversial, I think the music in Jedi Fallen Order is some of, if not the best music in Star Wars.
I love the music. Oh my gosh. Like, music in any type of entertainment product, I feel like it's the soul of whatever that entertainment product is. So just like sitting on the menu for Jedi Fallen Order is just wonderful because the music is just swelling there. I agree. Like, I love that. Also, just basically all of the Star Wars products, the music really speaks to me. So I agree.
There's such an iconic and almost nostalgic part of Star Wars music. It's just one of those things that it's so inspirational to many people. Like, Star Wars is like one of the biggest franchises ever, and we all come together around this one thing, and the music with John Williams is like just a through line for everything, and it's super enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. Like I play Spotify while I'm working during the day, just have it on shuffle, and a few Star Wars music songs came on and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's probably one of my favorite things. And I looked at it and it was actually from Solo. So Solo has some really awesome music choices as well.
Oh,
just really like hopeful and just that playful. I love it.
Anytime a Star Wars song comes on, your productivity goes through the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Or it goes down because I'm like, okay, wait, what is this from? And what's
vibing too hard.
Yeah, I have broken down the Thrawn music and stuff as well.
Okay.
So like that does happen sometimes.
What is it? That brings you to Fallen Order as the favorite Star Wars game for you?
I just love exploring that era. That's probably the first thing that comes to mind. And that's probably why Bad Batch is so intriguing to me. Did you watch the episode today?
I have not watched the episode today.
Okay. So I won't say anything then. I'm really
behind
good.
A couple episodes.
Okay.
Because I've been away from the office or in editing mode for the day job, but I've been really enjoying Bad Batch. It's one of those shows that I like. It's an anthology almost. Like you have these little vignettes as you're jumping into the different planets that they're in. One thing I was talking with a friend of mine earlier, and talking about how I'm getting a little tired of the tropes that they've been using with the recent Star Wars shows, where it's like they're in a spaceship, they crash, and then an alien from that planet that they crashed on does something to their ship, and then they have to fix it. It's happened twice in Mando, and then once in Bad Batch so far. Yeah,
I've noticed that as well, especially in Mando. It seems very kind of like video gamey in a way.
Yeah, that's a good. Cool.
Yeah, because it reminds me a bit of, I guess a bit of Jedi Fallen Order, how it's structured, how you have the planets that you choose to go to, and then you have a story that happens on that planet. Also kind of the first Mass Effect game where it kind of steers you toward the different planets to go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely have noticed that as well.
I really like how in Fallen Order it opens up. It gives you the opportunity to, like, the first... which planet did you go to first on Fallen Order? Like, when it opened up?
Oh, gosh. I think I went to the... the one where the Night Sisters are. Why is that name...
Oh, Dathomir?
Dathomir. I went to Dathomir first.
Same here.
I wanted to see just how it was portrayed differently, like from the Clone Wars and things. And also, I kind of heard that the double-bladed lightsaber was going to be there as well. So I wanted to pick that up as well. But I wasn't really able to too well because that is such a tough planet if you go there first.
I had to go back. I was jumping
too.
around. I kept on getting killed by the stinking spiders.
Yeah. No, that's really tough. Like, because I saw on Twitter, it's like, go here if you want to get that double-bladed lightsaber from one of the devs. And I'm like, okay, I'll go there and do that first. And then I'm like, oh no, this is punishment.
Wait a second, it's a trap.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's exactly what it was. But it was fun. It was kind of a deep dive into the combat there. But like, I at least loved that first dive into looking at Dathomir itself and just looking at the skybox and stuff and just like, oh my gosh, like we watched this in Clone Wars and we like know what all happened here. And so also Rebels as well. Like you kind of see that in between.
Okay.
Also.
I still need to finish Rebels. I'm on season 3 and I just need, so Rebels is one of those things where people either love it or hate it. And the people I was around really crapped on it. I was like, okay. But that also helped me because I had low expectations for it. And after you get through like the first few episodes, maybe half the first season, and you start getting into the second season, the characters really start to click. One of the turnoffs for me was the animation style, because we spent so much time with Clone Wars and the animation style for that.
Yeah, it was different.
And then you get the little, it's almost Clone Wars-esque, but it takes a left turn.
Yeah. Yeah, like I suppose I had like a better time with it because I started, I think it was during it was when season 3 was going to come out. So I wanted to catch up on it and everything. So it was something that my dad and I really bonded over as well. So we binge watched the first 2 seasons together.
Okay.
And so there were a few, filler episodes type thing, where it was kind of just moving a little slower, but we were able to binge that. So I suppose we didn't get that mentality of it because, we were able to watch a bunch at one time.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's definitely one of my favorite Star Wars stories because, Thrawn and everything.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm probably one of the oddballs in terms of being a Thrawn fan because Rebels is what introduced me to Thrawn.
Okay.
What's considered Legends now, the books and everything, it was kind of daunting for me to get into because there was so much Legends, to read and everything. And I didn't know where to start there. Yeah. For those,
I was on the audio. I've got my Star Wars books in the corner over here, and right in front, standing face forward, is the Thrawn book.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. But yeah, so Rebels introduced me to him, and it's just, he was so intriguing to me.
He's such a fascinating character, an alien in a world where the Empire is very, my girlfriend would call it space racist.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
To have an alien species rise to power so strategically and so quickly as Thrawn did, it's super awesome. And just the strategy that the character has is incredible. So, question for you, what would you like to see from a Thrawn game?
Oh my God.
Could you imagine?
I got chills. I don't know. I guess for that, I would try, I wonder what era it would be placed in, sort of thing. If it would be in what we've seen before, or I would love to see his story continued from where it leaves off in Rebels.
I think something that we're lacking in Star Wars video games is more of a cemented character exploration.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot of the beginnings of the characters, and what automatically comes to mind when you say any character and them being in either their own movie or their own video game is like a prequel. But I think what would be super cool is to see Thrawn at the height of his power. And I don't know, it would almost be cool to see the characters around him, like a real-time strategy game where you are Thrawn and you have to decide where to go with your fleets and stuff.
That would be cool. That reminds me of the, what was that top-down Star Wars game where...
Oh, it was basically Age of Empires, but Star Wars?
Yes. I played that so much. It kind of reminds me of that. Age of Empires is what's coming to my mind as well. But that's something that I got so into and played all the time. I love
Galactic Battlegrounds.
Those type of, there we go. I love that type of strategy game. But yeah, I could see something with that with Thrawn. And I would definitely love some sort of narrative based big campaign where you see the characters around him reacting to him and everything.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Because just the books go into Commodore Farrow and Eli Vanto and just his supporting characters, reacting to him and just having their own stories. Larani is one that I would love to see explored as well, her character and everything. But yeah, I don't know, I think I would prefer something akin to Jedi Fallen Order in terms of just that in-depth thing. In terms of our player character, I don't know if I would want like our own customizable character, or
That
if
would
it
be
would be
cool.
Thrawn himself.
To be like an apprentice of Thrawn.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Star Wars Thrawn Apprentice. That's the title of it.
I mean, I don't know what would happen. Like, that would be an interesting like stream series to watch for me. Yeah. I mean, because I would be a blubbering mess, or I would deep dive into lore and everything.
Yeah.
It's tough with video games with Star Wars because they have their story group and everything, and they want to, make sure that everything ties together and that canon is sticking together. So, I think they did a really good job, kind of going back to Squadrons with your pilot, how you're kind of an unnamed pilot.
Yeah.
And, you can be part of this squadron that is named in the books, but it's not like really mentioned. So if we go to a character like Thrawn, for example, like I wonder just how that would be handled in terms of the player character, and if we would be named, how much story agency we would be given.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's two sides of the same coin with everything having to be canon. Like, you get a really nice, strong story arc throughout all of Star Wars, or everything ties in together, but you're also really limited on some of the things that you can do with like a choose your own adventure type game. Like, if you do this decision, it will change the entire outcome of the game, and unless you make every single storyline canon, like, there are some issues with that. Or like with The Force Unleashed, there was like the true ending, and then you had the other like alternate universe endings, which is something that they could do. And I'd be totally down if they said, hey, this is a standalone story and it's not going to be canon. Just enjoy it as it is. Or this is a character's, like, this is Thrawn dreaming, and that's why he's able to do all of these things that wouldn't be in character for Thrawn. And at the end, he wakes up.
Well, I know, like, from the books, there is something that Thrawn says, that there's always a little bit of truth in legends, and what you can learn more about a species or a people, more so about the legends that they have of whatever that legend is about. So I kind of see this with the New Republic, or not New Republic. I always call it New Republic, the High Republic books that are coming out.
Oh man, it'd be fascinating to see a game in that era.
Yeah, that would be awesome too. But I haven't read in depth all of them, but each book, whether it's the adult version of the hyperspace event that happened, or if it's the junior novel, the names and like the character descriptions are a little bit different for all of them. Yeah, so they're kind of going into a kind of myth, legend type thing within what they're releasing now for the High Republic. So I kind of wonder if they could do something like that in video games, in terms of, you're this character in this game, but we don't really know what happened, sort of thing. So like, as a player, maybe in this video game, you would be able to make more story agency in terms of what happens, in terms of like crazy decisions.
Yeah.
But maybe going from a canon story group perspective, you could put a shroud of mystery in terms of like myth of what happened truly.
I think with that, we'll call it an episode. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has been an absolute blast. This was a fun time to talk. Star Wars gaming, Star Wars, the whole gambit.
Yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for listening to Uplink Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Uplink Podcast, or on Instagram at Uplink Podcast. If you like the show, and we hope you do, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you can leave a review. It helps us out a ton. It gets your feedback, and it helps us attract new listeners. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so on our Patreon, patreon.com/uplinkpodcast. Be very appreciative of that. You can get exclusive content like Uplink Plus, our exclusive Patreon podcast, as well as some bonus insider deals on Uplink Podcast merchandise, as well as a mention in the outro, this right here. We'd like to thank Daniel, who supports us at the $10 a month level and helps bring the show to you lovely people. Thank you so much, Daniel. And if you'd like a shout out at the end of the episode, please consider supporting on Patreon. Helps us out a ton, helps us to expand the show and bring you weekly content. We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. Yes, I know, we're Uplink Podcast now, but can't change the URL for YouTube, so please consider checking out the content that we're producing over there. We have weekly streams every Saturday at 12 p.m. MST, as well as bonus content and expansion of the show. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Wherever you find podcasts, you can find this show. Links to all of the guests' information will be in the description of this episode, so definitely go check them out as well. As always, thanks for listening. Goodness gracious.